your socks! Hey!
The Lost Art with Andrew Cox podcast, now streaming on all major podcast platforms. A Till Valhalla Project ambassador. Thanks for tuning in to the podcast that's given a voice to our veterans. The Lost Art with Andrew Cox. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Podcast, that podcast giving a voice to our veterans. I'm your host, Andrew Cox, and today we're having a fireside chat with the crew. But before we get in that episode, are you enjoying the podcast? And be sure to go to our website. That's thelostart.podbean.com. Go check us out, see what we're all about. There is that merchandise tab. Click on there, get you a cool hat, a shirt, a cup, get you something. Help support us in getting our veteran voices out for all to hear. Also, a huge shout out to the Till Valhalla Project. If you don't know anything about that amazing organization, I encourage you to go to their website. That's tillvalhallaproject.com. Go check them out. And if there's any way you can help them out, please do so.
Ton Tavern, birthplace of the Corps. We as Marines hold this history close to our hearts. Wouldn't it be spectacular if the establishment was born again? The Ton Legacy Foundation, a nonprofit 501c3, is taking the task and is looking to the Marines to once again save the day. Help the Lost Art podcast in raising funds to help get the Ton built once again only 100 yards from the original establishment in Philadelphia. We are looking for Marines to donate $25 representing the upcoming 250th birthday of the Corps. Spread the message and help establish the Ton, a place for Marine brethren to gather and remember our historic beginning. Go to the Lost Art GoFundMe page and donate today. The Ton Legacy Foundation, reestablishing our birthplace.
All right, with that, I got the crew here, and we can go ahead and go round robin. We'll start with Mike. Mike, how you doing?
Doing good. Was trying to get Christmas lights up this weekend. Was not successful. But, it was this morning when I got up this morning, it was 34 degrees at 6:30. So it was obviously colder than that. But I was like, yeah, my tail isn't shimmying up an aluminum ladder right now. I'm not doing that. But we had a good Thanksgiving though. My wife had to work Thanksgiving night in Tennessee, and so did my daughter. So, they all got home Friday afternoon. So we had Thanksgiving yesterday. So it was a good time. It's nice to have everybody here. Early Friday evening before it got dark, my wife's like, we got to go get our Christmas tree. And I'm like, seriously? She goes, yep, we got to go get it. So, we went to the lot, and, I did it the manly way. I had the steel chainsaw there ready to go. It was fired up. And after an hour, what about this one? I'm like, just pick a tree. Just pick a tree. I don't care. Just pick a tree.
I'll cut any of them down, but hurry up.
I had it fired up. I said, are we sure this is the tree? And my wife, my daughter, and even her boyfriend was like, yeah, this is a good one. And as soon as I laid into him, I was like, well, my wife goes, well, maybe that what? I was like, nah. I was like, that's ours now.
Very nice. I like it.
We got it in the house. It's in the stand, in the waters.
Did you strap it on top of your car on the way home?
No, we just threw it in the bed of the truck.
That's no fun.
I did it the South Georgia way, just throw it in the truck.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I didn't have a Griswold tree where I had roots hanging out the front or over the front or anything like that. So
now, did it fit in your house?
Oh yeah. I made sure to measure.
Okay. All right.
Our living room has got a vaulted ceiling, so I could put where it would have to sit, I could put like a 14-foot tree.
Dang.
And we've had a 14-foot tree, and I'm like, we're not doing this ever again. Never again. So
how do you get it through the door?
Well, that's just it. They gotta double wrap it. I'm like, they pull it through the thing and get get it all tied up, and they're like, is that good? I'm like, no, it's gotta be compressed more than that, because it's not gonna fit through the door. So they'll run it through again. But
How
now
do you
this
get
one
it back
here, I
out?
made sure it was 11 foot in the ground. I made sure of that.
Oh, okay.
But after I cut it and all that, it came out to be like just around 10 foot. So it fit perfectly. And my wife's like, after I got it in the stand, we got it straightened and all that. She goes, "That's a little tree," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's a perfect tree. It's just fine."
Oh man. Well, it
Now, a
sounds like
10
you
foot
had a
tree is still a big tree. I mean, don't get. I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah, for sure. Oh man. Well, it sounds like you had a wonderful Griswold vacation there for your Thanksgiving. I like it. So
yeah,
good.
yeah.
All right.
I got tired of the handsaw, doing that. So I was like, "No, chainsaw's coming. Here we go.
That's the only way to
Five
go, in my
five
opinion.
seconds, it's down."
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Mark, how you doing?
I'm doing outstanding. I'm doing outstanding. We had a phenomenal Thanksgiving. I tell you, my 9-year-old or 8-year-old granddaughter wanted to be the main cook on the turkey, and
Oh,
so last Thanksgiving I was in Fiji for Thanksgiving. My wife and I went to Fiji, 34-year belated honeymoon, but
very nice.
so
Yeah.
they did a turkey by themselves last year, of course. But this year they did it again. So my granddaughter and my daughter took out one of the roasting pans, those big old roasting pans,
Yeah.
and they buttered it down and seasoned it with whatever. But I tell you what, that was, and I told my wife too, I said, that was the best turkey I think I've ever had. I mean,
Wow.
I cut it up, but the thing just fell off the bones, and the bones were just
Wow.
clean. There wasn't even like dragging stuff off the bones. It was like unbelievably prepared. It was wow. It was. I mean, even the carcass. I just had
Yeah.
tongs. I didn't even use a knife. I just had my tongs that I was grabbing pieces of meat with, and even my grandson had a big old leg, and he uh he put it on his plate, and he pulled up the bone, and the whole leg bone came out. It was like it was amazing, and like I said, it was uh it was a juicy turkey. It was like, oh dang, it was delicious.
Yeah,
That's
I need that
awesome.
recipe, Mark. You got to get that
Woo!
recipe.
I'll tell you, it turned out perfect. I mean, perfect. So I was totally impressed, and it was a gorgeous day out. The beautiful weather. We still have just unbelievable good weather here. Um, and I tell you, I don't even need nothing for Christmas because we got Christmas on that election day. So I got everything I wanted for Christmas, and I think I've been in a great mood ever since the election. And even Gavin Newsom can't tick me off because uh, it's just everything's going great. All these picks that Trump's been putting in, uh, wow, it's going to be great from day one. Things are happening now.
Yeah,
Trudeau from
true.
Canada is flying down to Mar-a-Lago to beg not to get slaughtered with tariffs, and uh, it's just everything's going to be great. Everything's going to be great. I did about 2 months ago. I'm trying to clean out the garage, right? So I took all my
Hmm.
stuff, all of everybody's stuff out of the garage, put it in the backyard. And
Yeah.
I've got a patio cover back there, and I've got some pop-ups up. And so all that junk is out there. And so I started going through Foot Lockers today. I got through like 3 Foot Lockers of just old stuff, a bunch of stuff that has to
Yeah.
be shredded. Then I got all this old, Marine Corps stuff. Is like, I mean, I'm the only one who wants it. What the heck do I do with it? But I got publications in there. I've got everything. So I'm gonna
Wow.
got all my old uniforms.
Hmm.
Got to go, except my dress blues that I'll be buried in. So
Yeah.
I put those away. I covered them in plastic and make sure the medals and ribbons are good. And so all my wife has to do is give it to the mortuary, and
Yeah. Yeah.
get me dressed. Uh,
You can donate all that, the uniforms and stuff to the Marine Corps universities and the museum. They'll take all that stuff.
really,
Yeah. There,
they
in
don't have
fact,
enough
some
of
of the
them already.
what's that?
They don't have enough of old uniforms.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what all they have. They have all kinds of stuff.
And I got them. Well, I've got them in two big trash bags. So
Yeah.
because they have my son's also. My son left all his crap here, so I told him, you come get it, or I'm going through it and putting it in the
Yeah.
trash.
Oh man. Well, hopefully you got it. I don't know.
No, he didn't get it, but he grew. He grew a lot. Got bigger since he was in, so his uniforms
Yeah.
don't fit anyway.
Yeah, I understand that. I live that right now. Yeah.
So everything's great here in Southern California, even with the politicians, taxes, and prices.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. Sounds good. Vic, how are you doing?
Life is good. Let's see. We had a family come in from Iowa. We had family come up from Georgia. This was year 18 of deep frying a turkey. This was second year that we deep fried a fresh turkey. So my wife found fresh turkeys at one of the local butchers. So last year I deep fried a fresh turkey for the first time. Way overcooked it. And then this year I was like, all right, instead of 3 minutes per pound plus 10 minutes, I only did 2 minutes per pound plus 10 minutes. And then when I put the meat thermometer in, it only needed to go 10 more degrees. And I'm like, all right, so like 10 more minutes and it was out. So it was
Nice.
good. Yeah, it turned out real well. I did get my Christmas lights up.
Oh, I see them blinking over there. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And then we got some few other things. I put some candy canes up this year. The whole house is decorated already. And let's see, after Thanksgiving, we went up to Charleston and did some shopping on King Street. The women folk let me go off and smoke a cigar at King Leaf Cigar Shop in Charleston. Great experience. If you're listening to this and you're anywhere near that, I highly recommend going. Anything else? Yeah. Well, this week's cigar is a cigar I've never had before. This is Le Creme by Crowned Heads. It is meant to be smoked after dessert, and I did have a piece of leftover pumpkin pie, so I think this counts. Best part of Thanksgiving, right?
That's right.
Let's see. It's where is it at? Oh, Nicaraguan long fillers with Ecuadorian Sumatra binder, completed by an alluringly dark Connecticut broadleaf wrapper. It is said to have notes that are rich and savory, delectable chocolate, leather, caramel, sweet spices, espresso, and a hint of dried fruit. So I'll let you know how it
Wow.
goes.
Oh, that's a very interesting combination. I like it. All right. Well, good luck with that. I will tell you, we had Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving Day, but we didn't have turkey or anything. But we had my mother-in-law and came over to my mom's house, and we kind of had a small get together on Thanksgiving Day. And then on Saturday, we had Thanksgiving, the official Thanksgiving, with my at my mom's house, and then we went over to my sister-in-law's house, which is where my wife's family had their Thanksgiving. So we had two Thanksgivings yesterday. It's pretty cool. And at both houses, and I'm sure you guys will appreciate, we all did the TikTok dance for Trump TikTok. So it's out there. Yeah, yeah. We were getting it, both families. It was good. But yeah, it was a good experience. I had lots of fun. Got to see family I hadn't seen in a long time, so it was all good. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and get into it. We'll go to veteran news with Mark.
Mark has nothing. He
No.
failed miserably in his task over this long holiday weekend.
Well, that's okay. That's all right. You had other things going on. It's understandable. I get it.
I did take all the decorations down out of the attic of the garage and laid them in the middle of the garage, though.
Oh, well, it's a step in the right direction. You did something. I mean, that's good. That's good. Well, do you have anything else you want to talk about?
Not at this point. Not at this point.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Well, we can jump over to military news with Vic.
Hold on, I guess I got to adjust my my space heater that's here between my legs.
It's that cold, eh?
It's about 40 degrees here. That's not smoke.
Yeah. Very nice.
All right, so I thought this was interesting. There's obviously there's still a lot of things going on. There's still posturing going on in the Indo-Pacific. But one of the ones that I thought was interesting, one of the stories is Marine Corps Base Camp Pendleton. Marines and sailors aboard Camp Pendleton successfully completed the first iteration of Operation Clean Sweep, a deliberate maintenance stand down that addressed the backlog of barracks maintenance requests through self-help projects and a surge of contract labor. Let's see, 120 barracks buildings and more than 12,000 rooms.
Dang.
And let's see, First Marine Expeditionary Force and Marine Corps Installations West personnel then completed more than 4,500 self-help projects during the 15-day stand down. Working side by side, officers, staff, non-commissioned officers, and junior enlisted repaired drywall, painted walls, repaired and replaced window screens, conducted ground maintenance. Let's see. During the first iteration, MCI West Public Works Department deployed 6 task-oriented direct maintenance teams to address work orders citing plumbing, electrical, HVAC, and carpentry issues. And they completed more than 2,000 work orders to include repairing and replacing more than 390 washers and dryers. Additionally, more than 6,000 air conditioners were purchased for barracks rooms and are anticipated to arrive before the summer. So before this coming up summer. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, I think that's pretty much and then all the rest of it just feel good about how teamwork is infectious and powerful sense and common purpose, blah blah blah. Yeah. So, but I mean, it kind of begs the question: as long as Marines have been talking about, like all this backlogs of, all these maintenance issues, why did it take somebody so long to figure something out like this?
I was just getting ready to say that. Isn't that freaking pathetic?
Yeah.
It's Camp Pendleton, first of all. Yeah, it's the 1st Marine Division, 1 MEF. I mean, are you kidding me?
It's a lot of backlog.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good idea to like shut things down for a while and, have them take responsibility and go in and fix some of that stuff, That's good. And if base maintenance is allowing that to happen, that's a really good thing. Because before you couldn't do anything to your room. You had to put in a work order. They had to come out and fix it or do whatever with it. And it took forever for that to happen. So if they're allowing them to, help out and stuff, that's good.
Well, they've done all this stuff with base housing on the bases. The base has no actual responsibility anymore with building or maintaining base housing. Yeah. Why don't they do that with barracks? Why don't they? I mean,
that's a good question.
Yep.
I don't know. Mark was in a position to be able to deal with stuff like that. I mean, why? I mean, I understand it's different, but I don't get, especially at Pendleton of all places. I mean, I know there's a lot of Marines there, Marines, sailors, whatever, but
I tell when I was the company gunny there, you did have to do a lot of follow up with when you put in a work order and stuff like that. It was one of those, you couldn't take no for an answer. You had to make your calls on your level and work, do that company gunny type thing. But as soon as you got shut down, then you had to go higher, and you had to, start stepping on people's desks and going up to the, and the company XO would go to get in with the battalion XO, and the sergeant major and the battalion XO would start making calls to the regiment. And once the regimental started calling division, then things usually, start happening, especially out in the freaking Happy Horno where I was. You can't go without hot water out there. But you had to, some of this work order stuff. There was got to admit it, there was some neglect there also. Everyone just pushed it off and, oh, you're just going to have to live with it. You're just going to have to live with it, which is total BS. That young Marines shouldn't have to just live with it. or shouldn't just have to fix it themselves, which is happening now.
See, it says the Operation Clean Sweep has saved more than $3 million in contract labor costs and successfully returned 446 previously unoccupiable barracks rooms to acceptable habitability standards. That seems like a suspect term.
Did these young Marines have to pull it out of their own pocket?
No.
I mean, did they?
Yeah.
How many of them did though?
Maybe some did.
Company gunnies and platoon sergeants said, "Make it happen."
Yeah.
And
they do.
And they're just going to make it happen.
Yeah.
But
this whole DIY thing, though, it just doesn't. I mean, I get it. There's obviously Marines when we were in, and even now, that have backgrounds in electrical and are able to do drywall and framing or plumbing and stuff like that. But that's absolute garbage. That it's like, look at the money we saved. Look at the money we saved by, the Marines did it. It's just, I think that's absolute garbage. There's got to be a certain level of quality of life. And, that video we all watched with, the Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps talking about the new state-of-the-art barracks and what we're doing. And, it's like, okay.
We're sending billions to Ukraine. We can fix some barracks where Marines live.
No lie. Well, hopefully that could be high on Trump's to-do list, is put a little more money toward the barracks.
They'll be handling that.
Yeah. Wow.
The problem is it'll take years to fix it. It won't be an overnight change. That's the problem. So
I think a lot of that too is the kind of the bureaucracy within the contracting world. So as you put the work order in and all that type of stuff, well, they have to task it to a certain person. They can only work so many hours. They can only do certain things. And then it just becomes, they have to put requests into other people. And it's just that whole bureaucracy instead of here's an issue, let's fix it.
How many people are sitting in those positions that require the decision to be made, but they're sitting there because they've got they're retired. There's some retired military. Now they got that cush job, receiving the government funds again on their paycheck, and they're sitting there blocking the whole thing because it's their little kingdom and they run things their way. And that's that bloat. Those are the ones that need to get fired. Just like in the VA system where, the veterans weren't getting taken care of. For a while, those people did start getting fired, but they're going to start getting fired again, I think, come 20 January. Pack their trash.
Needs to happen.
I hope they don't have too much stuff hanging up on the walls in their office. Their I love me stuff on their walls, because I was always told only have enough on the walls that you can fit in your war bag as you walk out after you get fired.
That's pretty good. Wow.
Andrew, I never had a lot of stuff in my office of that personal stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
My third time at Miramar, I lived on base, and across the street from me was a Navy chief, and he was a boiler tech. So, but he told me this story one time about how maintenance happens on ship, and I mean it's like red tape to the nth degree. And I'm sure there's something that that caused this method to be born, but man, it seemed like such a headache. So somebody puts in a work order to fix the water fountain, the scuttlebutt, right? Because scuttlebutt's not working. So somebody puts in a work order. Then some junior sailor has to stand in line outside the maintenance officer's office to be assigned, right, to go fix the scuttlebutt. But the first thing they have to do is get permission. So they have to stand in line to get permission to put a red tag on it.
What?
Yeah, I'm not kidding. They have to red tag it. So once they stand in line, sometimes for hours, because the maintenance officer, very busy, got so many things to do, hang out in the mess or something. I don't know what they do. But and then so finally the sailor gets permission to go put a red tag on it. Then they have to come back with their plan to fix it. And okay, here's my plan. Here's everything I know. I got all my tools. I got all the parts. if they have all the parts, right? And then they say, okay, cool. And then they have to wait in that line again to have the maintenance officer sign off. I know how to do it. I have all the tools. I have all the parts. Then they have to have time to go fix it. Then they come back. They have the work signed off. And then they have to stand in line a fourth time to get permission to remove the red tag.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, it's like.
So, and Vic's right, but that all comes down to that commanding officer of that ship, because I did 7 of my 9 deployments were aboard naval shipping, and I tell you, I had this one commanding officer of a ship. It was on an LPD, an old LPD. It was the Juno, the USS Juno, LPD 10. But when he left, he would go work out in the evening, and he would walk through all the passageways. He had this long ass walk to get down to. He basically walked almost the entire ship to get down to the weight room in the back, and he took notes on the way down. If something was broke, if this was that, if the heat, the air conditioner was out in a certain berthing area or whatever, and he would stop along the way and make calls to whatever they have, DC Central, to DC Central, right? And then by the time he got done working out, he would take that reverse trip. And if that thing wasn't fixed or someone wasn't working on it, by the time he got there, I felt sorry for that DC officer. But that all comes down to the commanding officer. There were sometimes the commanding officer never heard of. They didn't care if those, if the little things on the ship were broke or the air conditioning in the Marines areas wasn't working. It was like, so it all, once again, it's a matter of accountability. It's leadership and accountability and taking care of your people and making sure they're living properly.
Wow. Well, gotta love red tape. All right.
Let's see. In other news, the Army has lost 31 M17 pistols from a base in Georgia, along with 2 sets of NVGs and a thermal scope. And now they're offering a $15,000 reward for information.
Hey, 6 Marines just got off the hook. That's much bigger.
Exactly. Andrew, I was just thinking that.
31 pistols. 31
That's pretty
pistols,
bad.
2 sets of NVGs and a thermal scope.
Who is in jail over this?
Yeah.
Nothing. Nobody yet.
Who's in the stockade right now because of this?
Somebody's got to be.
There should be.
Yeah.
There should be.
Sure.
There should be some commanding officers fired. There's first sergeant, sergeant majors, gunnies, platoon sergeants.
Oh, this is Army. Yeah, this is Army.
Yeah.
31 pistols don't walk away. Like they're not misplaced.
No.
Somebody took them.
They're in the hands of some organization right now. They're either a gang or a motorcycle club. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Who knew it and when did they know it? Who was the first one to know it?
Yep.
Absolutely. What base is this, Vic? It just says some base.
Hold on a second. Let's see if I can find it.
Fort Benning?
It's
not Benning anymore. It's
no. Let's see. Information.
You said that was in
31
Georgia?
pistols. For where'd it go?
I didn't mean to put you on the spot, Vic. No. You just said some base in Georgia.
Fort Moore, Georgia.
I wonder what base that is. Has that always been Fort Moore?
That's what I'm thinking. It used to be Benning.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Army's Criminal Investigation Division has posted the reward. Apparently, they got no leads.
Yeah,
that's pretty bad.
Yeah, fucking Army. In other news, What was intended to be a passionate hotel room rendezvous turned into nothing more than smoldering chamber of sorrow after apparently 20 candles lit by a Marine sparked a fire that left the room's confines crisper than intended.
Holy smoke.
An unnamed sergeant assigned to Camp Schwab told police the candles were intended to be a surprise for his partner who had gone to pick up from the nearby Naha airport. Marine was arrested the following day by Okinawa police and taken into custody. Marines to be Marines. Glad nobody was hurt.
Jeez. That's rough. You know, you're trying to be all romantic and man, talking about backfiring.
Yeah. Naha police said the room was completely burned. And that the Marine was arrested for putting the people in the hotel and surrounding area at risk.
Ooh.
Yeah. The Marine Corps is cooperating in the investigation.
I imagine so.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I gotta be honest. I've never even come close to burning down a room because I was being romantic. That's never happened.
Awnings, completely different story.
Completely different. Completely different story with awnings. Definitely destroyed one of those.
Trying to be romantic?
It wasn't romantic after when the awning came down.
You might be getting some of that romance in prison, in jail there.
Oh God. Good stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, he's getting his romance.
That was Fort Benning. It was formerly Fort Benning. It's Fort. What'd you say?
Moore.
Yeah, it's named after the
colonel.
Colonel from Mel Gibson played in
yeah.
Vietnam.
Hal Moore.
Yeah. That's where jump school's at, and everything is in Columbus.
The last sentence of the article is still one would think a branch commonly associated with crayon eating would be better versed in the properties of wax.
Oh God. Are you serious?
That's the last sentence of the article. Update your safety brief.
Oh my God. Wow. That's impressive.
And I yield my time.
All right, very well. Well, I guess we can move on to Marvelous Mary News with Magical Mike McNanny.
Hey. I'm sorry, I was reading an article. I pulled it up from Vic's article. It was talking about the M17 pistols were made by Sig Sauer Army standard sidearm, replacing the M9. According to Army Code, all the weapons must be inventoried each month, with each gun accounted for by its specific serial number.
That's what's supposed to happen.
Yeah. Then it follows up to say the missing gear and guns at Fort Moore are among several instances of military equipment being stolen from bases in recent years. Missing weapons have ranged from rifles and a pistol assigned to 3rd Battalion, 6 Marines at Camp Lejeune.
Had to get that in there, didn't they?
Yep.
They had to. Yeah. The Marines did it first. That's where that came from.
It said so far at least 1,900 guns have gone missing since 2010. They're still a part of an ongoing investigation. I remember 29 Palms being shut down for 48 hours over a pair of NVGs. It didn't matter if you were a spouse and you worked off base. There was no coming. There was no going. If you lived off base, you were not coming on base. I mean, every vehicle, every barracks room, every freaking base housing unit was, everything was gone through.
Wow.
So I don't understand how just stuff randomly, just magically, it's magical news or whatever it is with me, but how does it magically disappear? I mean, there's an inside job or somebody's doing something,
It has to be an inside job because how many
it's
times?
Army, so it's not the E3 Mafia pulling stuff as far as Lance Corporals, but you got, I don't understand.
Well, look at how many times when you take a unit from point A to point B, what you have to do a weapons count before you leave. You have to do a weapons count when you get there. Same thing. Like every single time you move a unit, you're doing a weapons count.
Yeah.
And do you remember that time when we were at Camp Pendleton? We all had to go attend like some kind of legal brief, safety brief on motorcycle gangs in the area.
I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. And they were telling us like the motorcycle gangs in the area like recruit active duty military so that they can have access to weapons.
Yeah.
Somebody grabbing a grenade from the firing range can probably get away with it, or something like that, or, I guess apparently 2 M16s go missing or something like that. And now 31 pistols or whatever, the 200 weapons. It's just like death by 1,000 cuts. It's a little here, a little there, a little here, a little there. And then, so, I mean, I wouldn't that's why I said earlier, they're in the hands of the gang or a motorcycle club.
Yeah.
Well, that's the big thing where that base is at is in Columbus, Georgia. Columbus is part of the chain from Atlanta down even to Albany, which is the town just south of us, where Marine Corps Logistics Base is at. But the gang presence is stupid. All the way from Atlanta down into Columbus, where Fort Moore is.
Wow.
I mean, it's just a highway of gangs. And, there are, even in this area in Albany, there's motorcycle gangs, but clubs, excuse me, they're not gangs. It's like the mafia doesn't exist, so you don't talk about them, but they're gang, motorcycle clubs, but yeah, it's obvious. That's where they're going.
Yeah.
There's no other way, but it's, I just don't understand how they can't, somebody's been fudging numbers for months, if not years, because those units aren't deploying like we were. I could see stuff up and randomly just, hey, we're short a pistol. Well, we just got a unit back, or, from Iraq, Afghanistan, stuff like that. Yeah. But now they're not deploying like that anymore. So, how do you just randomly have that kind of numbers? I can see an upper receiver off of something. It's like, where the hell did that go? It was almost like an accounting issue. It's like, okay, well, that barrel was shot out on that, or this or that. But I don't understand.
The big thing for me is because in the armory, if you count and there's something missing, it's an automatic stop. You got to go back and recount everything again just to verify. And there's a lot of checks and balances in an armory.
But it's interesting in the article I was looking at it that it literally shows the commanding officer for Fort Moore. They posted something. I don't know when that article was posted, the year we're talking about, and even I was just looking at, but it was like Fort Moore plants so many thousands of trees in support of so-and-so. And it's like, okay, let's evade what's actually going on here. Look at the good we're doing. Yay. We're planting trees. Woohoo.
Oh man. Maybe the trees took them and they're buried in the roots of the trees. That could be.
I think it was a coordinated effort between the staff and CO of the armory and like 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 or 4 of the armorers in there, doing whatever, and then like slowly bleeding off a couple pistols here and there, and then like somewhere like the staff and CO changed over, and when the new staff and CO came in to do an accountability inventory, wait a minute, we're missing 31 pistols.
And I'm pretty sure, I remember before I retired 12 years ago, they were already having RFID codes, those little stickers, so
Yes.
that to make the accountability. And I know they did MCRD also, just to make the accountability so much more accurate. You know,
Right.
that and like you said, they fill the racks, and if the weapon doesn't, if there's not a weapon for that space in the rack, that space is blocked off so that you can automatically look and see if something's missing.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, there's double checks, and there's so yeah. So I think some
Well, at least in the Marine Corps, there's
Army
that.
officers, some custodians, some gunnies, some company gunnies, or whatever they call their company gunnies, and then the ordnance officer for the company. They need, like I said, those people need to be in handcuffs, be perp walked.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I would agree with that.
And like I said, someone will break. And like you said, it's probably an inside job somewhere. Someone will talk.
Yeah.
And
Somebody's going to protect their tail. Yeah.
were those,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
were those
Absolutely.
weapons assigned to somebody, or
Yeah,
were they just
that's the other
ones
thing
that
that
were unassigned?
that's one thing that I had a question. Even with the ones from 6 Marines, it was assigned to a specific person. Did that when somebody end up just stealing that one from them? They, you know, left it laying in the head or something, and somebody grabbed it and threw it in their car so they wouldn't know, or, you know, I don't know. And then what happens to that individual? You lost your weapon. Oh my God, that's huge.
Yeah.
Like I used to tell everybody, I might get fired for a lot of things, but it won't be for accountability. I knew, man, I was death on accountability.
Well, I just remember doing CMRs even in the band. You know, the
Yeah.
CMR was like, we had one when I was here the first time in Albany. It was a French horn that had been dermoed. It had been, you know, it's no good. But what was serialized was the valve bank on it. And everything else went to dermo. And it was saved. But that entire horn was marked as dermo. But
So you ended up with the extra horn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we had it, but it's like, where's this horn? I mean, and literally, battalion shut us down because we couldn't say where the hell that horn was. It was a damn French horn. We're not talking about a freaking weapon or NVGs or something like that. It was a damn French horn. And I don't remember now what even a good con French horn cost. What, $5,000, $6,000?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Somewhere around there. But, you know, it's like, you literally, I mean, there was an investigation put into place. And, you know, I won't say his name, but he was a repair tech at the time. He got handed that crap storm. Had to, you know, was told, okay, that's dermo, but, you know, go ahead. And he was, and that was a scam that was being run when I got to Pendleton. And I'll say that they were dermo instruments.
And then taking them and selling them.
And then stripping them. And then they'd go to the dermo sale, turn around and buy them back for peanuts on the dollar and turn around and rebuild them. But they got an empty shell, like you just got a clarinet body, but nothing was on it.
Yeah.
And,
wow.
But that was, you know, it was, you know, unfortunately, this gunny walked into that mess and he was the one held liable for it. And he's like, I don't know where the hell this horn is. Because, you know, the CMR was done before he checked in and he asked to do a CMR and they're like, no, we just did it. And,
which,
you know,
you're supposed to do CMRs every time a person changes over, whether it's the officer or whether it's somebody else.
Absolutely. Yeah. But
interesting.
He's the one that got held responsible for it. And and the damn valve bank was literally laying on the bench, just laying there.
Wow.
But it was a serialized number. You know, and like I said, that's a damn French horn. It's not, yeah, it's expensive, but it's no damn pistol. It's not a rifle. It's not.
Yeah.
I almost got hemmed up for a mic. Like I moved from the library NCO to the supply NCO, staff NCO when I was at Quantico, and at the like 2 weeks after taking over as supply staff NCO, we got a new master sergeant at battalion supply. So like Master Sergeant had never been around a band before, so he came over for our his first CMR and my first CMR of a band. And somebody had taken some like a little label maker and put the serial number of the mic on the outside of the mic. Right, all the mics were that way. Well, somebody had misread the difference between an L and a 1.
Oh no!
So the master sergeant's like, hey, that's not the serial number. Take it apart because you have to be able to get to the serial number. I want to see the serial number. And when he saw that it was an L instead of a 1, he was like, oh, that's not the same mic. Where's the real mic at? And I'm like, what? This is it. It's a mic. It's a mic. It costs less than $100. And like, so Zabo, since he was Bulletproof Bob, basically went to the G3 and talked to everybody out of it and was like, oh, it's just a common mistake, blah, blah, blah. It won't happen again. But from that point on, enlisted to enlisted, I was a staff sergeant. Master Sergeant was like, anytime you want to get rid of anything that I consider the master sergeant highly preferable, you have to come show it to me. So anytime I wanted to order, and that was anything under $300. So anytime I had to order drumsticks because they were highly preferable, drum major gloves. I had to go show him, here, look how bad these drum major gloves are. Can I throw these away? Can I order new ones? He would literally grab them from me, throw them in the trash can behind me, and tell me it was okay to order new ones. Fucking retarded.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, Vic, but unfortunately I had to be at that point at one point too. At Pendleton, it was like, stuff was just disappearing.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's no more. You come to me, and I will tell you if there, because at the end of the day, it was my tail because Edmondson made me sign for the CMR. Nothing against Chief Warrant Officer Edmondson, but I was the CMR guy, and I had to justify every damn dime.
Yeah.
And even though we had 7-year replacement plans and we had numbers put into place, and a drop of a hat, if somebody called and said, hey, the chief of staff at the comptroller or something, he's like, I've got 10 grand here. Can you spend it? I'm like, on my way.
Yeah, but like I mentioned last week, the Department of Defense can't pass an audit since it's been required to do so. Ever since it's been required to do so. But we've got all these fucking horror stories of how we're being fucking nickel and dime to death at the unit.
Well, that's just it. Yeah, clarinet reeds. Okay. Buy clarinet reeds. It's like, okay, we need reeds. It's like, well, we can't. We can't judge. I was like, there ain't no plan. It's not like we're asking for something special here, a particular mouthpiece for a trumpet player, or a trombone player, a brass player. It's like, we're not asking for hand-built wood drums here, snares. We're asking, I'm talking clarinet reeds.
That's crazy.
And I'm sure it's that way with you, Vic, as far as an infantry unit. I maybe not, but we were held nickel and dimed, even to pens and toilet paper and tablets or just memorandum books or log books. And
I remember a time when money was so tight around, we were like bringing in, like, okay, squad 1, you bring toilet paper. Squad 2, you bring some soap.
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
That was the norm. That was also back when you had to rake the sand and it had to be perfect in 29 Palms.
Oh, that was good times there.
Yeah.
Wow. Freaking 7th Marines was throwing their cigarette butts out across into our raked sand, and we were getting bitched at for throwing having cigarette butts in our sand.
That's good stuff. Nothing beats those types of times,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to disrupt the marvelous Mary news, but
no, you're good. No, that was good. It was a good conversation. I enjoyed it. So real quick, did you have anything else, Mike? Sorry.
Well, actually, I had a story, but if you don't want to hear it, then whatever. Dude.
Oh no, go ahead. You can.
No,
It's fine.
All right,
Whatever. What I was just going off what you were just talking about. I just, I just assumed.
Yeah, I saw this. I actually saw a video on Facebook, but
On the
actually I
face
saw
pages.
it on the face pages. Yeah, as you call it. But there's a woman in Alaska. We're on, Thanksgiving weekend here. Thanksgiving's past, but it's the weekend still. That made it her mission to drop Thanksgiving turkeys to people in the backwoods in the bush of Alaska for Thanksgiving.
That's pretty cool.
But she, as a young girl, her dad was a bush pilot that taught her how to fly planes. And she finally got her first plane, and they completely rebuilt it. But she said when she was a kid, there was a local pilot would come in and drop turkeys. And it's,
That's
obviously they're frozen. It reminds me of the WKRP.
WKRP.
They're throwing live turkeys out of a helicopter. But she said their nearest neighbors that were 10 miles away that lived there just a little less than a year. She said they finally went to go visit them. And she said when she heard her neighbors said that it was 2 weeks before Christmas this year that, they were new to the area. They weren't quite prepared to live in that area. And she said when they told them that their plan was to eat squirrels for Thanksgiving. And she said one squirrel, the neighbor said, yeah, one squirrel doesn't split real well between three people, two adults and a younger, a child or a teenager or something. It's like you get a bone, you get a leg bone, you get But she said it's funny. She said most people think turkeys can't fly, but she goes, they can when I'm in the plane. And she says she lives in rural Skowentna, Skwentna, Skowentna in West Susitna Valley, Alaska, where the majority of all the residents in that area rely on small engine prop planes for transportation and goods. She said, I was visiting our nearest neighbor, and they were talking about splitting a squirrel 3 ways for dinner and how it really didn't go that far. She said, I just thought at that moment when I was a young child, there was an older gentleman that was a bush pilot that would fly in and drop turkeys, frozen turkeys to people in the area. But, he had passed away and unfortunately couldn't do it anymore. And she said, you know what? I'm going to drop them a turkey for Thanksgiving because I recently built my first airplane with my dad. So this is something we can actually do. And if you go online like TikTok or Facebook, you can actually see them dropping turkeys. It's actually pretty neat. She said, we grew up occasionally when I was younger receiving turkeys at home via airdrop. And they would drop them out in the woods or as close as they could to the house. But she said this year she made a pledge. And she flew into wherever, it said earlier, I can't see it now, to try to get a census of people in the area and where they lived and their properties. And she dropped 40 turkeys to neighbors in the area in a 50-mile radius.
You said 40?
40.
Wow.
That way they would have something to eat for Thanksgiving. Even if it wasn't for Thanksgiving, at least they had food that was there. Yeah, they had them in like special bags, and literally the plane's coming in and they're getting they're literally clipping over top of the trees. And, somebody's hanging out and they've got a camera watching and they're getting as close as they can without dropping it on the house or something like that. But
yeah, that would be
people are standing outside because they could hear the plane coming in. And they're like, okay, what's that? Is something coming in? What's going on? And they're waving their arm out the plane, the side door, and they got a turkey and they're dropping it. You can see them all running to go get this turkey. So I thought that was actually kind of neat. She said, we thought about trying to attach parachutes to them as But she said, as we thought about it, there's enough snow that the snow will cushion them, and plus they're frozen, so there's really not much harm going to happen to them.
Yeah,
So,
it's the
unless
person
they
on the
fall
ground you
on
got to worry about.
somebody.
Yeah,
what's that, Vic? What's
Unless
that,
it
Vic?
falls
I
on
said, unless they
somebody.
fall on somebody.
Well, that's what she was saying. That, you know, that's what it says is they had to they would go in around the house, and they would come out and do a big circle and then go enough far away, like 200 yards from the house, and drop it. That way they could see them dropping it, because they didn't want it to land on somebody, or, you know, land on a snowmobile or whatever vehicle they may have had, or crash down through the middle of the roof or something like that.
Yeah, land on their snow dogs back there,
Yeah.
you know.
But she said, there's a lot of things to go. She said, I went to a local store in the area, but it's hard to say how close that area is, maybe 100 miles away. I don't know. And talked to them about it. They said, well, if you have people that need them, then we'll get them.
Nice.
So they got turkeys in, and she picked them up. She said, well, I apologize. She said 40. She said her plan was to deliver 40 turkeys. She said we were only able to deliver 36.
Mm.
I don't know why.
That's still
with the other 4, why they couldn't, but it's just interesting.
It's still good.
You know, it goes back to, you know, we consider neighbors being like somebody like next door to you across the street. To them,
Yeah.
neighbors is somebody that's
10 miles
away. Yeah. You
Yeah.
know, but people still are actually willing to help people and think about other people other than themselves, and there's a bigger cause.
Yeah.
So that's my
I
good
like
news
that.
story for today.
It was a good lesson. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. Well, hey, before we kind of wrap this up, next week, a week from Monday, a week from, what is Monday, the 2nd? So on the 9th is the 1-year anniversary of the first episode of the podcast. And we are going to have a good show whenever we record that one next week. We're going to have a lot of special guests. I got 5 special guests that are going to come on that have been on before. So we'll have them come on and talk about their experience when they came on or what have you. It should be a good time. But yeah, it's a big one. And at that point, I think we'll have, 306 episodes for the year in 1 year. So did quite a few. So it's pretty good. But all right, well, with that, let's go ahead and close out with words of wisdom. All right, who wants to go first here? Mike, you want to go? Vic?
I won't lie to you, I don't have one right now. So
Let's see.
Okay.
Let's see. Is there anything that applies to today? Don't treat people as bad as they are. Treat them as good as you are.
That's good. I like that. I like it. All right. Mike, you still good? You're good? Because I asked that because as soon as I said words of wisdom, I saw Mark, and he got a little smirk and started giggling over there. So I know he's got something good for us.
yeah, he's got something to blow us all out of the water. That's his usual. That's
Yeah,
his forte.
I know.
He's like, oh yeah, hold my beer.
So while you guys are digging up your quotes here, for the cigar.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I'm not real sure I taste a lot of what they're saying. There's definitely some spice. I don't know if I'd call it sweet spice. I can taste some hints of like dark chocolate, and maybe I'm stretching, and maybe some espresso in there, but I don't taste the leather or the caramel or any of the other stuff that was mentioned in there. But definitely more spice than anything else, and every now and then a little bit of sweet chocolate or dark chocolate, and then maybe some hint of espresso, but not much. I give it a.
That's pretty. You had one the other day that was a really good one.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Was it 2 episodes ago? I think.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. On your scale, it was really high.
Yeah, it was a hell yeah.
Yeah, it was one of those. All right, Mike, you good?
Yeah, I had one here. I actually had it saved.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
looking for it. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're still looking? Okay.
I was unprepared. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, here it is. Here we go. No, I lost it. Sorry. No, that wasn't it. My phone just
Very
went,
well, very well.
just went swirly. Man,
All right.
I'm just railroading the podcast. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good. You're good. We can go ahead and you can get us on the next one then. That's fine. No big deal. All right. Mark, are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right. Let's
Hey.
hear it.
In life, always give 100%, unless you're at the blood bank.
Wow. I mean,
Hey,
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Unless you're at the blood bank. Oh, I love it. All right. Well, guys, thanks for coming on and doing the podcast with me again. I truly appreciate it. To all the listeners out there, if you're struggling, need help, anything like that, don't forget the VA does have some great resources. You can always dial 988, press option 1. You can text 838-255, or you can go to veteranscrisisline.net and click on that chat icon. Any of those options will put you in contact with somebody that can help you out. But remember, one veteran life loss is one too many. I care about you. The crew cares about you. The whole veteran community cares about you. So please reach out for help. If you're out there, you're not struggling, then make sure you reach out to your buddies that you served with and ask them how they're doing. And if they need that helping hand, please give them that helping hand. All right, guys, one last time. Thank you very much. To all the listeners, stay motivated. Change your socks.
Government say they make a